Imagine waking up one day and realizing the very thing you depended on, for your success, happiness, or survival, has suddenly vanished. No warning. No explanation. Just gone. Now what? That's the question "who moved my cheese?" forces you to confront. In this deceptively simple story, you're not just reading about mice in a maze, you're stepping into the maze yourself. Every twist, every dead end, every piece of cheese, it all mirrors the patterns of your own life, your job, your relationships, your goals. And here's the catch: if you don't adapt, you get left behind. This summary from Shiny Books is not just a breakdown, it's a mirror. If you're stuck, scared, or simply tired of waiting for things to go back to normal, this journey is for you. You find yourself inside a maze. Not just any maze, it stretches endlessly in all directions, filled with twisting paths, hidden corridors, and shadowy corners. Your heart beats faster as you realize you're not alone. Two mice, Sniff and Scurry, dart through the maze with lightning speed, their noses twitching as they follow the scent of cheese. Alongside them are two little people, Hem and Haw, small humans like you, full of beliefs, fears, and habits. At first, everyone's goal is the same: find the cheese. In this world, cheese is everything: happiness, security, success, love. Whatever it is you're chasing in life, that's your cheese. And like them, you begin the daily ritual. You run the maze. You look for clues. You adapt to the turns and dead ends. One day you all find it: Cheese Station C. It's a jackpot. Piles of cheese, more than you could ever need. The mice arrive early, sniff around, stay alert. Sniff detects changes, Scurry acts fast. But you, like Hem and Haw, begin to get comfortable. You show up a little later each day. You even decorate your space, hang your achievements on the walls, maybe even write a little mental script. This cheese is mine. I earned it. It will always be here. But deep down, something nags at you. The cheese is starting to shrink. You notice it, but you ignore it. The mice don't. Sniff starts sniffing more aggressively. Scurry laces up his tiny sneakers. They're preparing. But you laugh it off. Hem assures you it's just a phase. You don't want to believe the cheese could vanish. Still, you notice something strange. The cheese doesn't taste as fresh. The smell is faint. One day you come in expecting your daily portion and it's gone. Gone. Not a crumb left. Panic hits. You freeze. The mice? They're already gone. They didn't sit around to discuss, complain, or demand answers. Sniff smelled it coming. Scurry acted. No drama. No debate. Just action. But you're stunned. You feel betrayed. You built your comfort around this cheese. You believed it would stay forever. Hem is furious. "Who moved my cheese?" he demands. You want someone to blame. Someone to fix it. But there's no answer. Just silence. And you're caught in between. You remember the effort it took to get here. You feel the weight of your attachment. Maybe you laugh nervously, thinking it's just a bad dream, that the cheese will reappear tomorrow. But it doesn't. You start thinking about the mice, about your behavior, about the warning signs. But still you hesitate. This isn't just a story about cheese. It's your story. The job that once felt secure? Gone. That relationship you thought would last forever? Changed. That routine you relied on? Disrupted. You keep asking yourself, who moved my cheese? But the better question is, what will I do now? Will you sit here with Hem, waiting, complaining, reminiscing? Or will you do what Sniff and Scurry did? Get up, get moving, and find new cheese? Right now you're still sitting. You're still scared. But something inside you has started to stir. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's courage. Maybe it's both. You sit there staring at the empty space where your cheese once was. The silence of Cheese Station C is louder than any noise. Hem paces back and forth, grumbling, refusing to move. "It's not fair," he says. "They can't just take it away like that. It has to come back." You nod, at least for now, because change feels like betrayal, like something important has been stolen from you. You keep returning to the same empty station, hoping something will magically change. But each day the walls feel colder, your stomach emptier, and the silence heavier. Hem is still there, going over the same angry questions. Who did this to us? Why should we be the ones to change? And yet, no answers come. Only that same brutal truth: the cheese is gone. At some point, you start reflecting on how things used to be. You remember the first time you found the cheese, the excitement, the victory, the satisfaction. You remember how it slowly became a habit, how you stopped checking the maze, how you assumed it would always be there. You remember the warning signs and how easy they were to ignore. But it's not just about cheese. You begin to realize this is exactly how you've dealt with real changes in your life. A job loss, a breakup, a health scare. You clung to the old ways, pretending things were fine, hoping they'd return to normal. But nothing stays the same forever, does it? You think about Sniff and Scurry again. They didn't overanalyze. They didn't waste time. They simply recognized change and acted. Not because they were smarter, but because they were simpler. They didn't let fear hold them hostage. You, on the other hand, are still frozen. Fear whispers in your ear, what if there's no cheese out there? What if you get lost in the maze? What if you fail? But you also start to feel something else. Restlessness. You're tired of waiting. Tired of being hungry. Tired of pretending that staying still is safer than moving forward. One morning you turn to him and say, what if the cheese isn't coming back? He looks at you like you've betrayed him. That's ridiculous, he snaps. We just need to be patient. But you're not so sure anymore. You're starting to see how fear has kept you stuck. Not just in this moment, but many moments before. You remember staying in a job too long because change felt scary. Staying in a relationship because you feared loneliness more than misery. You remember settling, accepting, surviving, all because moving forward seemed harder than staying behind. But now, with the cheese gone, staying behind is hard. Harder than you expected. So you start imagining what lies beyond Cheese Station C. Maybe there's nothing. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's something better than what you lost. That thought, that tiny maybe, starts to grow. You write a note on the wall. If you do not change, you can become extinct. It hits you. That's what's happening here. Not just in this maze, but in life. You either adapt or you disappear. And it won't matter how long you stayed loyal to what once worked. You turn to him again. Come with me. Let's explore. Let's at least try. But he refuses. He's too scared. Too angry. Too stubborn. So now it's just you. Just you, the empty maze, and the unknown. Your legs feel heavy as you step away from the station. Fear clings to you like a shadow. But each step feels like a tiny rebellion against your old self. You don't know what lies ahead. But you finally accept what's behind is gone. You're alone now, walking deeper into the maze, your footsteps echoing off the cold walls. Every turn feels uncertain. You glance behind you, half hoping Hem might have followed. But he hasn't. It's just you. And your fear. It's everywhere. What if you get lost? What if there is no new cheese? What if the mice were wrong? You stop. Your legs refuse to go further. The fear you tried to outrun finally catches up. It wraps around your chest, whispers doubts into your ears, convinces you that going back, even to emptiness, might be safer. You consider it. For a long moment, you genuinely think about turning around. But then a thought flickers. What if moving forward isn't as scary as staying stuck? You take a breath. Then another. You remind yourself of that message you left on the wall. If you do not change, you can become extinct. It wasn't just clever. It was true. So you write another one. What would you do if you weren't afraid? And that changes everything. You realize it's not the lack of cheese that's been holding you back. It's the fear. The fear of the unknown. The fear of loss. The fear of failing. But right now, you've already lost something. You've already failed by not acting. And somehow, the idea of failing forward, of trying and learning and adapting, feels more powerful than sitting in that lifeless station. You start walking again. This time, faster. You explore dead ends, retrace steps, mark walls, and leave little messages for yourself like breadcrumbs. Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. You laugh to yourself. It sounds silly, but it's true. Change rarely comes without warning. You just didn't pay attention. You remember all the times life sent you signals, but you ignored them. The missed opportunities, the fading energy, the growing restlessness. You thought things would fix themselves. They didn't. You had to fix yourself. At one turn, you imagine seeing Hem standing beside you. You wish he'd come. But you can't wait for him. Everyone handles change in their own time. Some never do. And maybe, just maybe, the best way to help him is to keep going. To show that it's possible. You leave another message. Movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese. Then something shifts. You start to enjoy the maze. You're still scared, yes, but there's also excitement now. Adventure. You're not just escaping fear, you're discovering possibility. And isn't that what change really is? Not a punishment, a possibility. You even start imagining the new cheese, how it might look, how it might taste, how much more satisfying it will feel after this journey. You feel your old self slipping away, the one that waited, doubted, blamed. You're shedding the weight of certainty. You're becoming someone else. Braver, lighter, quicker. You laugh out loud. You're becoming more like Sniff and Scurry, not because you've given up thinking, but because you've stopped overthinking. You've stopped needing everything to be perfect before you act. You've started trusting movement more than planning. And just when you least expect it, you find a crumb. Not a station, not a feast, but a crumb. And it's enough. Enough to give you hope. Enough to tell you you're heading in the right direction. You write again. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. It's becoming clear now. Holding on didn't keep you safe, it kept you stuck. And letting go wasn't weakness, it was strength. With each crumb, you grow more confident. You start noticing patterns, signs, smells in the air. The maze hasn't changed, you have. You've stopped reacting. You've started responding. You've stopped fearing the unknown. You've started walking toward it. And that's when the real transformation begins. You've come a long way. There's no more trembling in your steps now. The fear still lingers at the edges, it always will, but it no longer decides your direction. You've taken ownership. You've accepted change not as an enemy but as a guide. And then it happens. You turn a corner, and the scent hits you, cheese. Fresh. No. Different. Your pace quickens, hope swelling in your chest. You follow the trail with sharp senses, cautious but determined. And finally there it is, Cheese Station N. Your eyes widen. It's filled with all kinds of cheese, more than you ever imagined. It's not exactly like the old cheese, it's better. Richer. Sharper. You laugh. You cry. You feel everything at once. You did it. But here's the twist. This isn't about the cheese anymore. It's about who you've become to find it. You notice movement in the corner, Sniff and Scurry. They've been here for a while. They nod in your direction, then continue sniffing and scurrying, not sitting still, not clinging to the cheese, but always staying alert, always moving. You smile. You finally understand them. You take a moment to enjoy the cheese, to celebrate, but not to settle. Not this time. You've learned the hard way that no cheese lasts forever. Everything changes. So instead of hanging your identity on the cheese again, you hang your lessons on the wall. Noticing small changes early helps you adapt to bigger changes later. Old beliefs do not lead you to new cheese. When you move beyond your fear, you feel free. You remember the early days, the denial, the blame, the paralysis. You think of him, still waiting, still convinced the old cheese will return. You wonder if he'll ever move. You hope so. So you do something bold, you go back. Not to stay, but to tell him what you found. To show him that moving on is not death, it's discovery. You retrace your steps through the maze. It doesn't feel as intimidating now. You know the paths. You've built the strength. You've earned the wisdom. When you arrive, Hem is still there. Still complaining. Still stuck. You sit beside him and gently say, I found new cheese. It wasn't easy. I was scared too. But it was worth it. He looks away. You don't push. You just leave behind a few crumbs and the words you once wrote on the wall. Change happens. Anticipate it. Adapt to it. Enjoy it. Then you turn back and return to Station N, your new home for now. But you know it won't last forever. And that's okay. Because now you're not just someone who found new cheese. You're someone who's ready for when it moves again. And when it does, you'll move too. Back at Cheese Station N, you settle in, but not the way you used to. This time, you don't build walls of comfort around the cheese. You don't assume it's yours forever. You don't tell yourself stories like, this will never change. Because you know better now. You keep your running shoes by the door. You stay alert. And most importantly, you stay curious. You reflect on the journey and how every twist in the maze wasn't just about finding cheese, it was about finding yourself. You're not the same person who once clung to Cheese Station C, terrified of letting go. You've peeled off the layers of fear, pride, and entitlement. What's left is someone leaner, lighter, and far more capable. You've learned that change doesn't wait for your permission. It arrives, unannounced, unapologetic. And whether you resist it or embrace it, is entirely up to you. You think again about him. Maybe he'll come. Maybe he won't. But that's his journey. Just like everyone in the real world, you can't drag someone into change. You can only walk your own path and leave behind clues for those who come after you. And so you keep writing on the walls. Because the walls, you realize, aren't just for you anymore. They're for anyone else walking the maze, scared and uncertain. Maybe they'll read your words and feel less alone. Maybe they'll take that first step, the hardest step, toward the unknown. You write. The fear you let go of is the freedom you gain. Imagining yourself enjoying new cheese leads you to it. The maze isn't a trap, it's a teacher. You smile as you write that last one. Because it's true. The maze taught you how to lose, how to feel pain, how to accept change, how to grow. It taught you that sitting still is an illusion of safety, that true security comes from adaptability. The cheese was never the goal. It was the lesson. And now, every time something changes in your life, a job, a relationship, a plan, you don't panic. You pause, you assess, and then you move, because that's who you are now, a mover, a learner. Someone who understands that when life shifts the walls of your maze, it's not punishment, it's an invitation to evolve. And so, if ever again you find yourself in an empty station staring at a spot where the cheese used to be, you won't be frozen. You'll tie your shoes, you'll grab your courage, and you'll start again. This time not with fear but with faith, because once you've faced the unknown and found something even better, you never fear the maze again. So, if you ever find yourself wondering why things aren't the way they used to be, if you feel stuck, disappointed, or lost in your own life maze, remember this story. The cheese will move. That's guaranteed. But what's not guaranteed is your response. Will you resist? Or will you evolve? That's the choice you face every day. Let this be your wake-up call. Don't wait for the world to change for you. Change with it. Anticipate it. Embrace it. And most importantly, keep moving forward. Because your new cheese, your next opportunity, joy, or success might be just one bold step away. This was Shiny Books, and if this journey sparked something inside you, then hit that like, subscribe, and share button right now. Your maze is waiting, and we'll be right here with more powerful book summaries to guide you through it. Keep moving. Keep growing. We'll see you in the next one.